Good afternoon and welcome, traders, to the market recap. I'm John Hoagland. Thanks for trusting me with your time. It's still Monday, November the 9th. Hopefully, you've had a good trading day. I know that this was a challenging trading day. I see folks talking about slippage and everything, and there are a few reasons why I kind of wanted to touch base on the way things happen today. If you've noticed, I've got a new semi fancy microphone. Let me know how the sound is. I haven't had the opportunity to test it out, so I'm testing it out on you. Um, the markets this morning were given some good news. A vaccine that may be bringing new life and new highs to the markets. Well, of course, they did that today. Part of the reason that I think that the market responded so quickly and so deeply or I should say so high, is the liquidity. The liquidity is still a little bit low from the election from last week. Expectations about all that. A little low on volume, perhaps. Maybe I can fix that. Sound is a little low. How's that? Maybe a little bit better? Hopefully that's a little bit better. Mic system froze. A little low. Well, hopefully that's better. Let me know if that works. Maybe I'm a little too far from the mic. Anyway, Patrick was, oh, okay, didn't even hear me come on. All right, so let me get a little bit closer to the mic. Maybe that's going to help. So again, liquidity in these markets is a little bit thin still from last week from the election. The news was released overnight, so there's another liquidity issue. I think that's part of the reason why, if you were slipped overnight, even if you were slipped on some of your stops today, there's reason for that. The market is a little bit thin. Yes, good news. Vaccine, wonderful. I'm hoping and praying that this is going to be the vaccine that's going to be, able to put this virus in large part behind us. As we know, the common cold, the flu, viruses are pretty tough to snuff out completely. If we can take away 90% of the pain initially, that would be fantastic, if you ask me. Hey, good to see you back as well, LT. I want to say hello to everybody here this afternoon. Great to see everyone. Felix, good to see you. KJ from Poland, welcome. Glad to see you here. Patrick, crazy day. Looking for more tomorrow. You're likely to see more tomorrow, Patrick Murphy. KJ, reach the profit target in step 2. Have to trade 6 more trading days. Congratulations, KJ. Stay with micros the remaining days so you don't risk too much. Yes, you don't even necessarily have to actually trade. If you're at your profit target, just take one trade, make or lose a tick. It's okay. It's not going to be held against you. We're just happy that you've completed step 2 and that you're going to get the chance in either the pro account or the funded account. Either way, great job. Nice to see it. Always happy to see people succeeding. Was Trade of 8 having some issues? Some of the guys in the chat room have been locked in trading issues. I haven't heard anything personally, and I just went through our support Slack line, and it doesn't look like there were excessive issues. But yes, certainly create the tickets. Let support know about it if there was some sort of an issue. They're excellent. They're very, very good, and we have a world-class support team. You will be happy with the outcome. LT's trading his personal account got slipped on a stop by three ticks. It happens, in live accounts, especially if you think you're going to get slippage in a sim account. Wait till you get to a live account. Real markets can be pretty vicious as far as some of the slippage that you can get. Ben, is there a Top Step chat room? Just the Facebook group is the chat room that we are using right now. So Oh, can you test the vaccine on me? I joke. I have not been around for a while. Good to see you back. Good to see you back, LT. Tanya. Well, good afternoon, Patrick. Yes, talking about the Facebook team, the Facebook group. Esteban, good to see you. Evgeny Koznicki goes, hello from San Francisco. Good to see you, Evgeny. Rocker, best of times. Jacob, good to see you. Esteban. And Rad Poker, trader and player, voicemail only with support. All right, yeah, I'm sure they do get sometimes busy, especially if there is actually an issue. I didn't see too much in the Slack, but there very well may be. Vladislav, good to see you. Thank you very much. And Ben, you're welcome. Okay, so what happened in the markets today? Yes, we did have some very good news come out as far as a potential vaccine. Thank God. Hopefully this is the answer to all our prayers. Equities, after that big move in to the upside in extended trading hours, really spent the better part of the day trying to find some sort of balance. We're going to take a look at this on the chart shortly. Metals really just kind of sank. I'm not sure that they've found the ocean bottom yet. Whenever I think about metals, I think about that scene in Titanic when the lady has the heart of the ocean and she steps up to the edge of the ship and steps up on the railing and throws it into the ocean. It's kind of what it felt like if you were long metals today. If you weren't, hopefully you were able to get in on the move to the downside. But at the very least, as I talked about this morning on the forecast, hopefully we didn't fight it. Hopefully we didn't fight any of these major moves today. There were some opportunities in the opposite directions today. It wasn't quite the one-sided continuation that I think a lot of people were looking for today. The markets, in large part, really did try just to kind of seek some sort of balance for two-sided trade to ensue. Two-sided trade meaning people are okay conducting business there. Not necessarily the best trade location, but people are comfortable conducting business there. Currencies, the yen, really took on the chin today. The dollar was stronger, but not excessively strong today. The yen really took a downturn today, but still maintains upside structure. We're going to see that shortly. And the 6E really just kind of stayed inside weekly kickoff range. The euro just kind of took things in stride today. Crude up over 8% by the end of the day today. Vaccine news, good for getting out and being able to do things again. A lot of folks looking forward to traveling. A lot of folks looking forward to getting back to the office. A lot of folks looking forward to getting out and maybe having some fun. It's been a long siege, and again, I'm not done praying yet. I'm going to continue to hope and pray that this vaccine is the answer that we've been looking for, and God bless us if that's the case. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick look into the charts here. Let's take a look at what happened. This is the crude oil daily, as always. We would kind of like to start with that. I got my notes out here from this morning. So news-driven volatility, obviously. The market opened and we ripped above the weekly kickoff high here. We were looking at this 41.50 to 42 level with all of these highs. There's a kind of an opportunity for us to look for shorts. Again, with the lack of liquidity, this move may have already been overdone in one time frame, in one day. This is the 30-minute chart here. Obvious when that news came out, broke us right out above that 39.40 weekly kickoff level, 41.50 to 42 even. Does look like it's going to be a little bit sticky for us, of course. We didn't quite get there. The market really kind of absorbed, digested that big move to the upside. And the better part of the day today to the crude oil was to the downside, and we still put up an 8% move from settlement to settlement. Pretty big moves, pretty big opportunities. It's not over yet, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, but the markets did spend a lot of time seeking some sort of balance. Here's our move to the upside in the S&Ps. Again, we traded to all-time highs in the overnight session. We did not in the regular trading hour session. Markets don't necessarily like that. Look where the market has traded to. Our move basically throughout the session was in the opposite direction. The market gave us that opportunity to come back down and see this 35.40 weekly kickoff level. Actually, it's the weekly kickoff high, 35.41. What's the low on this move to the downside? 35.41 quarter. What was resistance may become support. This might be an important level for us to look at tomorrow morning. We'll check that on the market forecast. So some pretty big moves to the upside, but really kind of taken apart by the end of the session here in the E-mini S&P. The NASDAQ really didn't have that big of a move. We were talking about that this morning. We were asking your thoughts on why, and a lot of folks came up with some really good ideas. You know, is technology that important if we can all get back to the office? Are we all going to be watching Netflix that much? Does any of that really matter? So the market did take a look higher, did not take a stab at a new high. However, it is a new recent high, and again, markets don't like that. So what are we looking at here? Well, the market opened. We opened not necessarily with a gap. We tried to push higher. We could not take out our overnight high. We've looked to the downside now. We've got plenty of naked points of control. We've got gaps down here. We've got naked points of control. There's lots of targets for us to look at. And then, of course, we've got our weekly kickoff low in the NASDAQ, 11,500. Right about there. That's going to be just about where we may come back and refill that level. Nobody knows what's going to happen. The jump to the long side last night, I think, is a little bit overdone. I'm not saying it's not going to continue. I've seen lots of economists saying, hey, there's another 10% upside to this move. And well, we're going to have to see about that. Gold really just ripped to the downside. We saw basically kind of a dead cat bounce at the end of the day here. Looking at just below 1800 as a new area of possible support. Look where the market traded to, though, basically to these swing lows. The market is still in balance in longer time frame until we take out the low from today. Take a look at the 30-minute chart. See how that looks. Okay, 1850 is a previous weekly kickoff level. Where did the market trade to? 1850, just a little bit below that. Pretty decent opportunity perhaps for some longs there. 1851 I think is actually that level, and I think that is a previous weekly kickoff low. That's last week's weekly kickoff low. This week's weekly kickoff low is last week's weekly kickoff high. Anyways, so look at the magnitude of this move to the downside. Really just kind of driving to the downside, and I would certainly call this a dead cat bounce, which leads me to believe this is just a little bit of a relief valve for more continuation to the downside. Could that change? 100%. 100%. That could change at any moment. Again, this week we don't have a lot of economic news. We do have some talking heads. There's going to be a lot of news-driven information if we're going to be seeing a lot of news this week. The euro, up near weekly kickoff high, down near weekly kickoff low. No real direction. I mean, overall, of course, the daytime frame direction was to the downside. We took a look higher. We didn't really necessarily open with a gap. We took a look higher. We were unable to reach that weekly kickoff high, which was really a bummer for me. I was looking forward to a possible execution up there. Didn't quite get there. That's all right. We got to move back down towards weekly kickoff low. Almost a full round the globe turn here. But much like gold, once the market's kind of headed to the downside, we've ended up with a bit of a dead cat bounce. I'll be interested to see what 1790 brings in regular trading hours if given the opportunity tomorrow. And the Japanese yen. Wow. what a big move to the downside. What a rip to the downside. But if we're going to be looking at this in a longer time frame, the daily chart still has higher lows and higher highs. This was basically around the globe move, but it didn't change much of the longer time frame. So I'll be watching to see if this trend line continues to bring support in coming days. Here is the way this played out. Settlement was way up here, driving lower, drifting lower, driving lower, and yet another dead cat bounce. So some of these markets, as we go from moving from having cash to moving cash into investment, a lot of these uh, safe havens seem to be looking at some pretty serious trouble in the coming trading days. Again, nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows for sure. So we trade what we see. So Laura is saying it is a known issue. I'm sure that they will get everybody taken care of as quickly as they possibly can. Yes, you can just ask everybody just to kind of stay calm. We will be, I'm sure, making sure that everybody is pleased with their outcome on that. Yes, people do tend to lose their minds, and I get it, man. This is trading, even funded accounts. There's even live accounts, your personal live account. The electronic trading, believe it or not, is still far from perfect. Level 2 sending an email to his broker, wants his 3 ticks back, and Tanya saying, let me know how that goes. If they give it to you, I'm switching brokers. Yeah, it's just one of the functions of the marketplace. Slippage does happen. Slippage does happen. Ben, the weekly kickoff levels are a combination of market profile information, technical analysis, measured moves, and a little bit of tea leaves and chicken bones. No, it's a kind of a proprietary process that I come up with those, but I do provide them for everybody, and hopefully you do find them helpful. I'm just going to take a quick look at what happened today, and I'm going to focus on this day in music. I always like to think about what happened on this day in music. In 1958, Elvis Presley's Hound Dog exceeded 3 million copies today. 3 million copies, becoming only the third single to do so. Bing Crosby's White Christmas and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer by Gene Autry were the only other two that had sold 3 million copies by 1958. In 1961, Brian Epstein saw the Beatles play for the first time during a lunchtime session at the Cavern in Liverpool. Epstein went on to be the group's manager, as you know. 1967, the first issue of Rolling Stone magazine was published in San Francisco on this date. 1968, Led Zeppelin played their first ever London show when they appeared at the Roundhouse, on the same bill as John Lee Hooker, the Deviants, John James, and a couple other people. Robert Plant married his girlfriend Maureen in London on that day and held the reception at that gig. 1968. I think he was pretty young. I think he was like in his early 20s when he got married. 1969, Simon and Garfunkel recorded what would become their signature tune, Bridge Over Troubled Water. On this day, Bachman Turner Overdrive went number 1 with the U.S. signal, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. Willie Nelson, the Internal Revenue Service seized all of Willie Nelson's U.S. holdings in connection with a $16 million tax debt. You know, it's one of the dangers of legal marijuana is you may forget to pay your taxes. 1991, Prince and the New Generation started a 2-week run at number 1 in the U.S. chart with Cream. Dave Matthews Band released their first album, Remember Two Things, on this date in 1993. God, it seems like the Dave Matthews Band is so new, and yet 1993 is when their first album came out. All right, that's about enough of that. The news, everybody is, of course, talking about this coronavirus vaccine. Keep praying, hope it's what everybody thinks and hopes that it's going to be. I am going to move on. Uh, Thank you all for joining me today. Hopefully, the sound I got kind of worked out here. I've got some new equipment coming, so we'll see how that works out as well. Oh, don't say that, Des Rhino. The vaccine can't have a higher death rate than COVID. No, we don't want that. All right. On that note, I'm going to call this a recap. Looking forward to seeing everybody back here tomorrow morning for the market forecast. Great market forecast today. Great thoughts on what was going on with the Nasdaq. I really appreciated all of those ideas that we were coming in. So, all right. Get a good night's sleep. Get some rest. Do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. Make sure you wash your hands, stay clean, protect each other still. And I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning on the market forecast. Blessings to everyone. Trade well if you're trading tonight. Leave some of those bullets for tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be another interesting trading day. We'll see you in the morning. Take care.